Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Big Idea podcast, and we have a special guest and friend of the show, Tom Kline. Besides being the author of Tuck the Octopus, Tom is undoubtedly the best compliance guy out there. Why? He cuts through the clutter. He'll keep you out of trouble, and man, he just makes everything as clear as day. So, without further ado, Tom, it's great to see you.
Thank you.
For anybody that isn't aware of the giant holes waiting for them that they can fall into if they're not compliant, let us know how you're helping dealers and everybody else around the country. And thank you so much for joining our show today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Always good to see the Three Musketeers here.
Don't start with that. Mike always wants to be D'Artagnan, and then him and Gary get into a beef. It gets very ugly.
It's the feather in my cap, man.
We've got three. We've got three towards a minion. What are we?
That's funny. That's funny. That's true.
And Larkin, you've worked for enough dealers that you've probably been circumcised a couple times. So
it's an Irish thing.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, Tom, you've managed to get us off the track even quicker than I normally do. So let's get
Isn't that great? I'm good that way. So what would you like to discuss today?
Well, let's do this. It's amazing to me that dealers aren't paying attention to the fact that it's no longer the state comes in and gives you a fine of $20,000 and you're mad at somebody. They come in and hit you for 8 or 10 or 20 million and you're out of business. So it just seems kind of odd to me that, I mean, you wouldn't drive without insurance. You'd avoid the things that would keep you out of trouble. And yet here's people putting their whole business at risk. So tell us a little bit about what you see out there and what you can do to help, Tom, please.
Sure. So, I mean, I call this kind of a case of the yets, which is I haven't had a problem yet, so I don't have a problem. And let's face it, I mean, compliance and insurance aren't the sexiest part of the business. It doesn't have anything to do with selling a car or marketing or playing with fun tech stacks or any of that. So I think compliance and risk get ignored substantially. I know a lot of dealers have software that they use for their compliance. Sometimes they utilize that software and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they see it on their expenses every month and go, okay, I got software. I'm good. I don't need to do anything else because I've got the software. And they're not checking the software. There's no human in the loop, to use that phraseology. They're not checking to see if the policies that they've clearly set forth are being followed. And so they have a false sense of security, I think. And especially when you've got customers and all these websites, which are a pain in the neck for dealers, and they're commenting on them. In fact, I'll be in Madison, Wisconsin at the Being Social Auto conference on Monday. And what I'm talking about is how to respond to internet complaints and what to say. Because a lot, at a dealership, most problems, I say, start on two legs. It's either a customer or an employee. And I'd say that's 80% of the problems that happen. So if you're not handling your customer problems or you're not handling your employee problems, you're going to have bigger problems.
Wait a minute. So what I'm hearing you say, while every dealer that's paying attention and every GM that's paying attention will scold his BDC if they don't respond quickly, they don't realize the tragic consequences in terms of your business and maybe liability if you don't respond to internet complaints and anybody that complains and nip it in the bud, correct?
That's right. That's right. I mean, the first slide that I'm going to show on Tuesday is where a customer just pours their guts out. Like, here's all the problems I went through, and here's what's still wrong. And the dealer said, the dealer's post was, "Thank you for your post. Please reply to this email address with what your concerns are, and we'll be glad to help you."
Kick in the can.
Yeah.
And it's just,
Hey, Tom, can I just make sure I got this part right?
yeah.
You go to Madison, Wisconsin. The Packers just got Micah Parsons, and now they get the slides. Can't we get anything? Maybe like a finger puppet, something?
Sure.
A stick-figure drawing, or star for entertainment on this show.
I'll give you sock puppets. How's that?
Perfect. See,
Next
Stillman, if you work them enough, you get what you need.
Absolutely. You let me know next time. I'll bring sock puppets on the
Finger sock puppets, right?
Well,
So we've just determined the guy that's going to save you $20 million in lawsuits works with sock puppets. Okay, it's like 60 Minutes or Inside Edition. We got to the core of you.
Absolutely.
So I want to go back in history, and Larry, Tom and I we've met, and I respect Tom's knowledge on compliance. And, I always said to Tom, I said, Tom, you're smart, but Mike Tuno is the guy who I trust. Now, with that being said, Mike Tuno and Tom Kline speak the same language. And the same language is out there. And what dealers want to ignore is the language that we're talking about. And, in my career, when I was back with Universal Underwriters, we had our claims supervisor. And they would bring me along with the claims supervisor to talk about claims on property and casualty, sexual discrimination, and just a litany of things that they should be doing correctly. So the dealers today now, and they still probably say it today, well, we're with Zurich. So if we screw up, Zurich's going to protect us. And they're going to pay, and we have statute title, and we have employee dishonesty.
Hey, Garrett, I don't mean to interrupt you, but, crazy as I am, I pay attention. And the first meeting I had with Tom Kline, where I also fell in love with him and respect him to death, he said, Larry, what's so crazy is they all think they have coverage,
Yeah.
but they don't realize the coverage is at this level and the liability is at this level. That's the scariest thing of all time. That's when you think you've got the protection. That's scarier than saying, I know I don't have protection. No, I'm good.
Well, we had back in the day the big fat claim. And so our training wanted to go in and give the dealer our big fat claim. And we talked about protecting the dealer's personal wealth. And, this was, I'm going back to, when I was 97, I started with Universal Underwriters. So when I listen to Tom articulates the coverages and he explains the coverages better than most. Where now the dealer can say, oh, Michael talks about the napkin. Tom Kline can talk about the napkin and say, you got a breach? You got an employee dishonesty? Add a few more zeros onto that number. And see, when there's a lawsuit, no one talks about it. And the lawsuit's always handled, and the office manager's always pulling old files, and the dealer doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't want to let anybody know that he's got lawsuits going on in the service department, lawsuits going on there. They think that they can just transfer from Zurich to Utica and somebody's going to write them. Well, the gig's up. And so, Tom, I'm thrilled to have you on here because we're trying to be giving them a chance where they're not going to lose everything. There's a breach in Connecticut at a Chrysler dealership that failed miserably. So they're being sued on a cyber, they've gotten in and they got 10,000 customers' personal information and they failed. They didn't have any exit strategies. They didn't have any plans. We now have lawsuits on etch saying dealers are still etching the car, and Connecticut law says not to etch specifically, and if the customer wants it, then put it on. And so then my last rant, we go into the independent dealers, and none of them are using menus. They're still just getting a bank loan stuffing a service contract, stuffing what they can, no compliance, no nothing. So it's 2025. Tom, please tell the dealers what they should be doing or getting their people to be looking at, because this is not going away. UDAP was filed for the local state's attorney to sue dealers for doing bad things. And UDAP is kind of a pretty big umbrella, but guess what? That's how they're hanging you now today. And they're going after the finance managers for lying. They're going after the owners for not disclosing, not buying back the car. I mean, it's a mess. If you're a messy dealer and you let a GM get out of hand, boy, you got 5 or 6 years to try to recover from that ugliness.
Gary, it's also scary in the sense that we would like to believe that justice is blind and that there's always a purpose, like in this case maybe to protect consumers. But what's more interesting or scary is that they're more interested in the technical aspects of the breach of the law and the regulations than they are of an actual bad effect. Tom, I got real friendly with my guy in New Jersey for obvious reasons. I wanted to make sure I had track and I was safe and as protected as possible. And I took him out to lunch, didn't get him drunk, just we started talking. He says, Larry...
those are the buyers, not the insurance guys, you know.
He said, Larry, cover your butt and let me explain to you why. If somebody gets killed, I mean, they steal their identity, everything, and we come in and find out you had all your I's dotted, your T's crossed, you're fine. On the other hand, if there's no problem, nothing, but we see a license laying on the desk or the room that says secure documents and it's not secured, we're going to kill you. So it isn't even that they're trying to punish the crime. They realize that the deepest pockets are always perceived to be the dealers, and they're going more for the technical violation rather than what even happened. Now, if you throw on top of that some damage, you not only have a class action suit, you're open to a civil lawsuit, a personal.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys are had me scheduled for episodes 35 to 42 so I can answer Gary's questions, right?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. So
I'll check off October.
That's it. In November.
And later we'll segue into an episode where we're going to have one of his octopuses marry a bagpipe. This way we tie the Irish back in, Mike.
So
top of mind, really easy things that they should start to embrace to get them on a path that they are on an incorrect path the way that they're doing business now. And it won't end up pretty. It won't.
Right. So one thing before I answer that question, UDAP that Gary mentioned is unfair, deceptive acts and practices. And attorneys can use that. Attorneys general can use that. Other regulators can use it. The FTC can use it. The CFPB can use it. Pretty much, anything that they can't figure out how to classify, if there's no specific law against it, they're going to say it's the UDAP statutes that Gary was mentioning.
Thank you.
So I think Gary, there's kind of two answers to your question. There's many answers, but just to kind of break it down, number one is know what's in your insurance policies. Know what it is that you're buying. If you don't know where to start by reading the exclusions. Find out what's not covered. Because when one of those not covered items comes across your desk, at least you'll know that that's a self-insured item instead of relying on what you believe will happen instead of what actually might happen, which is that the claim gets denied. So I guess that's kind of step number one is read the exclusions, know what you have. If you don't have a cyber policy, get one. If you don't have a pollution policy, get one. And if you don't have a directors and officers policy, get one. And I'll come back to all those because I could spend at least an hour on each one of those. But I would say that the main way to prevent problems is making sure you're taking care of your customers. whether or not whether or not they're right or you're right, it doesn't matter who's right, because by the time you get a lawsuit, you can't just, I mean, you can just argue about whatever it is and spend 30, 40, 50, 60, 100, 200 or more thousand. I mean, I've spent $80,000 in 1 month on attorney's fees. That's 1 month on one lawsuit. It's not that hard to do. So you're going to spend some money in a lawsuit, and you're going to spend some time, and your people are going to spend some time. And it's a waste of time. It takes the plow out of the field, and you quit working on gross, which is what you're there to do. You're there to generate gross. So
Tom,
whenever,
I got to tell you, I'm everywhere. Heck, in the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be in Florida, Michigan, Atlanta, and Minnesota. Everywhere I go, I grab the GM, the GSM quietly. I don't make a show out of it. I see licenses laying around.
sure.
I see stuff laying around that should never be laying around.
It's still, I look at it, it's still the 90s.
Right.
They're still allowing things that should have been stopped in the 90s today.
Well, and the thing is, the FTC, to my knowledge, has not done just a spot check where they walked into a dealership and looked around. At least if they have, it hasn't been published. Usually it starts with customer problems, and they go in and say, what's going on here? And then, oh, look at this over here, and look at this over here. And that's how the problems start with customers.
Tom, correct me on this one if I'm not, and I want your opinion. My understanding is today that the FTC, a part of, not only the safeguards and everything else, that they require the dealership to have a complaint feature on their websites that can come in and complain about service and complain about the sale. Is that true, or is that just still being discussed?
I haven't heard that specifically, but what you are required to do is you are required to keep a log of customer complaints and resolutions. That is a requirement.
Well, I think,
Okay.
Tom, I think most of the dealers have that on their website. It's that little trash icon.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. It better not be next to it. They better have the ADA compliant right next to it, too. Because talk about those, ADA is Americans with Disabilities Act. And we still have dealers out there that don't even understand what you're talking about, and their websites are completely exposed, and they've been suing using ADA left and right against Walmart and Target. So your websites, that's the battleground right now, or that's the scale.
It's an old thing in our business that if somebody came on and said, okay, I want you and Tom and Mike and Gary to all appraise a car, our appraisals would be thousands of dollars apart.
Sure.
If you went into almost any dealership and asked the GM, the GSM, somebody in the back office, how long do I have to keep certain records? What do I have to maintain? What am I responsible for? I don't think you find anybody where they were all new. Do you agree, Tom?
Yeah, the training is a real problem, and I'm working on my second book, and on the cover it says, because it's just about training, on the cover it says it's better to train than explain.
Yeah, that's that. And do it right the first time.
That's right.
Will the second book have sock puppets? Because I saw
do it
a
at all.
peak of interest when we brought that up earlier.
I got interested in that.
I'm going to have a Larry Feldman version, and
That's like a Muppet sock puppet.
it'll be very. It'll be very.
Oh yeah, yeah.
the
That'll
old
be
guy
Mike and
sitting
I.
in the
We'll be up there
balcony.
laughing at our own jokes. How
Listen,
long?
I'm making light of this because sometimes it's better to laugh than cry.
Well,
Our business is fraught. There are many things we do that border the line. how many dealers embrace, even if they know the idea, that almost every insurance policy says the salesman should drive the car off the lot? That doesn't happen. How many people don't realize that technically if you're financing with a bank and you say there's 3,000 down, is the 3,000 in hand before the people get left off? And we know that that doesn't happen because there is no dealer on earth, maybe a Lexus dealer in a millionaire row. Everybody else has an AR list.
Hey,
So
Larry.
there's just so many ways to trip up and fall down. Go ahead, yeah, I'm sorry.
Lair, red flags. Red flags has been a law for a long time, and it says you must verify the identity of your people. I mean, I represent a product gather. I've been trying. No one wants to do it. I'm like, it's $2 a pull. Are you kidding me? And it's so they don't do that. How many years has it been on the books by the FTC that every dealership is supposed to have a compliance officer? They're supposed to have somebody that's named. Do you know any compliance officers in any dealerships today? Ignored that. We, in 2003, Universal Underwriters, they gave us this big manual. It was a stack. It was the whole Safeguards Act. And they said, goes on this, make them put their employees' names, and just here's access. Well, it's been 22 years later, and you walk into a store, and compliance is the last thing that anyone wants to hear. So, unfortunately, there's dealers feeling pain. They don't do it right. They're going out of business.
We're all in agreement that it's one of the most tragic things you can do is to not cover yourself.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Tom, and again, just with a little asterisk here, I'm really friendly with Tom Kline, but even if I didn't like him, there's no better compliance guy in our industry. None. Because the guy cares. The guy, well, he wants your money, but he really wants to help. And I know that for a fact because I've recommended to some people, and instead of putting his hand out, he said, let me see what you're doing. Maybe you don't need me. So, Tom, how can they get a hold of you? What's the best way to reach out to you so they can get you and avoid, remember the old thing, you can pay me now or pay me later? No, you can pay him now or pay a whole lot later when you're going at a business sale.
Right. Yeah, I answer my phone. So the best way to do is just to call me, 757-434-7656.
Why don't you repeat that, Tom, in case they're not paying attention?
757-434-7656. Or go to my website, Better Vantage Point, or go to talktopus.com. Go to social media, go to Facebook, go to LinkedIn. I'm on all of the above.
Perfect.
Of course.
Tom, I got one question for you. What's the one thing, the first thing that you
I can help.
recommend
We don't need
to a
Tom
car
for
dealer
that.
who
You
has
give them the phone number to
attitude
the suicide
of
prevention hotline.
bad news. I've always done it this way.
Yeah. What's that? That's like Lee Trevino. When it's lightning, you pull out your one iron because even God can't a one iron. So
Tom, I didn't mean to interrupt. What's
Yeah, I mean, you have to
Hey, I'm
be a
asking
little
the-
enlightened
I'm
to
asking the
understand that the way
expert
you've
here.
always done it is not necessarily
think,
the
Tom?
best way to do it. And I'm not saying you have to do it the best way, but you should probably do it a better way. And then you can see things from a better vantage point, right, Mike?
Hey, Mike,
Yeah,
I
you know.
jumped to a music analogy, but I'm gonna move to a boxing analogy. I tell people all the time, some of the best
I
advice
see what
you'll
you're
ever
saying.
get in business and in your life is what the referee says to boxers.
Right.
After he says, obey my commands, protect yourself at all times, because you can get hit on the break, and if they don't disqualify the guy, you might have just gotten knocked out. Protect yourself at all times, and there's no better guy to help you protect yourself than Tom Kline. And if you're really nice to him, there's sock puppets involved.
There you go. And Larry, to follow on that, the famous Mike Tyson quote, which is, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
in the face. Yep,
Which turned on him when he wound up biting Evander Holyfield's ear and crawling around on his hands and knees trying to put mouthpiece back in with Buster Douglas.
It was just the air.
Mike, sock puppets are okay. We don't go
thought
into
it was
eating
always,
children,
I'm going
okay?
to eat your
This is a
children.
family-oriented
But
show.
I
What am I going to
digress.
do with these guys? Tom, do I have enough insurance to indemnify myself from Silman and Larkin? Let's
No.
talk later. I'll reach out to you.
The liability is very, very high.
There isn't enough insurance in the world.
Listen, folks, all kidding aside, they go after you these days with crazy amounts
There
of
isn't enough
zeros.
compliance
Protect
officers
yourself.
in the
Tom
world.
is not expensive. The upside is you're clean. The downside is they kill you. There are so many people. I mean, Tom, if we threw the numbers at him at Napleton or some of these places have paid, it's insane. Reach out to the guy at Better Vantage Point or Tuck the Octopus. He's a gentleman, and he will help you. And trust me, Tom, I know you've been friends with Gary forever, but myself, Gary, Mike, we were thrilled that you joined us, and we look forward to seeing you and having you help as many people as you possibly can.
Thank you, amigo. I appreciate it.
And Tom, happy, healthy New Year. Larry, happy, healthy New Year. Michael, we're coming up on the Jewish New Year. I just want to share with you. So my landsman, I love we're strong and mighty together. So, no, Tom, I appreciate the fact that I can talk where somebody understands what I'm saying, because not many do. And, so I appreciate your knowledge that you confirm what I try to make sure I'm top of mind. So between you and Michael Tuno, my job is to help dealers find better solutions. The technology today is wonderful. And once they start learning that they can get their own first-party leads, they can handle their compliance requirements right along with that, get their customers' information into their CRM nice and neat in protected, secure data where they can now continue to do business how they want to. And it's just as long as they get that gathering of the information properly into their system, they can avoid a ton of issues. So I know you like Connecticut. I know you, so I look forward to seeing you again in my area. It's always great having visitors come. Thank you. I'm thrilled that we had you on today.
And to sum up the show, if anybody joined in late, we've determined that Mike Larkin is Irish among 3 Jewish people. Tom Kline enjoys sock puppets, and Gary Silman finally found somebody that understands what he's talking about.
What better than that? Let's go into the weekend.
Everybody stay healthy. Good. I like it.
Thank you.
I gotta.
Great seeing you. Thank you.
I just see the people on replay scratching their heads.
Tom, as usual, you did great, man.
Have a
And,
good weekend.